blah, 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 all those things. We should be, we got it like, whatever, set up so it won't feedback like that. So, I don't know. You don't have to yell at something. Yeah. Well, it's funny, a lot of those topics are similar topics today. So yeah, those are pretty similar topics, yeah. Kind of in the same spot, you know what I mean? Oh, you mean for topics? So here's some links, but truthfully, actually, I'll show you the real link.
Who are we missing?
See if I click this right here?
Oh, nice.
No, Ed just up there. See that right there? Memes is art, selling art privately, being your own marketer, ain't on KYC, art across chains, art on Bitcoin, whatever else comes up, you know what I mean? We lost Ed. Okay, don't worry, we'll be back. Hey, Troy, can you do me a huge favor?
It's easy.
Would you run to the very, very back? Oh man, there's bear stick. Would you run to the very back and give me a seltzer of some sort? Just any type of seltzer, that'd be really, really helpful. Oh, hell yeah, nice. Oh, come on, I asked for a seltzer. What do you use? I don't have one. I don't have one. No, there's a charger station back there.
How you doing? Hello, Adventure.
Everyone stopped traveling for half a second. This is so nice. Wow, we're all home. You're late, Ed. No, I'm joking. It's okay. I'm joking. We're not there. Jerry, where are we at? How are we doing? What the hell is that? Oh, he's doing an audio test. I don't know if he's going to keep that. Nope, I don't think it's going to happen. I'm sorry. It's going to get brighter. I'm sorry. Keep your sunglasses on. No, we're good. They're going back on. Oh, we have intros now. I don't even know about these things.
Let's go.
Thank you. You're the best.
Turn it up.
Welcome to IRL Alpha.
I've never seen this.
Oh, got you. To be fair, I was really into it. I asked for it.
You don't believe his stories until you see the IMDb, though, okay?
No, because you were in Dexter and I wanted to know about it. Why?
That's funny.
But I'm your campaign manager.
There we go. There we go. Oh, yeah. Well, I'm already seeing the dad is dead, long live dad here, okay? Wow. The shilling is starting in the chat here, all right. Jerry, we ready upstairs?
Ready to go.
Then we're going to do it. Welcome to IRL Alpha. My name is Beaconbot. I'm your host, and typically we're here to talk about all things Web3 and crypto and NFTs, but today we're really just going to talk about art. It's been probably one of the, I don't know if it's the most depressing or the most entertaining weeks ever. I listened to 2 hours of Martin Shkreli talk about how he's a father figure to Barron Trump yesterday, and I said, I don't know if I can do this anymore. I can't do another week of coins and degeneracy. So we got a bunch of people who are all OGs in the space, doing art for a long time, been through multiple metas, seen, I don't know, shit coins, meme coins, celeb coins come and go. And so today we're gonna just talk about art, the future, what we think is gonna happen next, and all that fun stuff. So it's not just everyone up here talking, though. We do have a couple microphones in the audience. Boom, there's a couple held up there. So if you're in the first 2 rows, you want to talk, raise your hand. We'll get those microphones in your hand. If you're someone in the back, you got a hot take, just walk up to the microphone right there in the corner. I think we have a camera on you, hopefully, and give your take there. We just have a couple requests. If you're going to tell us about anything, you got to keep it short, keep it brief. Don't shill your backs, okay? We want to hear hot, spicy takes. We want to have the conversation moving. We don't want to hear about your new coin, or we want to hear about, guys, it's on Foundation. It's 0.05, okay? The only people who are allowed to shill, they're on stage right here. They'll give a little intro of what they're into. At the end, we'll talk, and then if they can slip shills in casually, you got to be able to do it real smooth, then they're allowed to shill as well here, okay? All right, so let's just start it off here. Back again, one of our favorite people, artist, musician. Every time I'm at any type of art party event, he's the one who's actually partying and actually having fun and bringing the vibes here. Also, really been in the space, on spaces, at events, releasing on multiple chains. Got a new release coming out, already released Narrator, correct? Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. And already done a bunch of different stuff on different chains. I'm a big fan of the run over here, okay? So I've been eyeing a couple of these here. Thank you, Troy. He's got it. Don't worry. This is Troy's. If you don't know, we pay Troy extra for this here, okay?
Just throw me with the mic. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, boom. Okay, beautiful. Thank you, Troy. It's a little chaotic here. Ed, what's going on?
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for that awesome intro. What else can I say? Yes, I am Ed Balloon. If you don't know, now you know. And I've been in this space for quite some time, and I'm a musician, an artist, all the things. And I actually have a job currently right now that's on bass for On-Chain Summer, on Highlight. They're gonna get mad if I don't say that name correctly. Forgive me. But yes, it's on that platform, and the goal is to reach 250 for me to drop this awesome song that I did in 2016 in correlation with my V-Friends drop that I did in 2023. And yeah, looking forward to that. Currently, we are more than halfway sold, so if you want to check that out, go ahead and check it out. Oh, it's right there. Yeah, a little bit of stop motion in there, a little bit of photography, a little bit of animation, all that. And yeah, that's me on that.
Beautiful, beautiful. And also, I got to say, Ed, on every time people are euphoric in spaces, I was enjoying you today. Everyone's on a high. You bring it back down to reality, okay? So we're going to need a little bit of that today.
Well, let's talk about that. Absolutely. I am also the one who somehow, some way brings it back to reality, which also kind of sucks because people are like, oh, you're so negative. And I'm like, wait, but I mean, I just feel like people need to be realistic.
Yeah, life's a little, the space is not all beautiful all the time here.
But I feel like Pat is worse than me, so I just feel like.
Yeah, actually, yeah. He just does it in single sentences. He just does it in these little, okay, cool. We'll get to that in a second here. Yes, exactly, in emojis here. Next, another one of our favorites, been here for a little bit, always participating, like someone who I always love that. You're always learning from someone, always talking to someone here. This is your first Bitcoin drop, correct? Second, jeez, okay, I'm sorry, jeez, okay. Astronomer's daughter, yeah, a little round of applause, yeah, beautiful. Minting right now. We actually got to talk to your dad live in studio, who's been a NASA engineer for, it was over 38 years, right? 43 years. Insane, so interesting, so fascinating, and that influenced like a bunch of this collection. You've been working up this for a bit of time. This seems like you were kind of diving into the Bitcoin ecosystem and trying to match up and not just, drop some stuff. So there's apparently some astronomy involved in here,
It's mostly like sats, honestly. It's like sats and like cool art, and then the astronomy part is like kind of what brings it together. But yeah, what I did is I found 100 rare sats that correspond with like cool events that happened in space, and I used this rare sat block times, and I used satellite data to create pieces of art. It took me about 6 months to finish. And yeah, this right here, that's the couch. See? Yeah, I pulled this couch right here.
That's right there. You guys are sitting on it.
My dad has been in this room. And actually, I don't think I've told you this, but I called him a few weeks ago and he was like, one of the best memories I've had in a long time was sitting with you and Began. And it was like really cute.
Well, it was fun because I'm like a nerd and he like literally collects vintage computers, and I was like, tell me more. And he's like, do you actually care about this? And I'm like, so much that I think he was confused that there's other nerds out there, and we're on the internet, okay? We're on crypto Twitter. So definitely check that out. We'll hear a little bit more about it. Another person, one of our most regular art panelists. If you guys didn't know, we've been doing the show for 2 years, and Patrick's been here from the beginning. Truthfully, I started arguing with him out in the streets of Venice. Eventually, we found a place to do it indoors. Now I can't see him ever. Every time I talk to him, he's like, oh, I'm in Lisbon, oh, I'm in Switzerland, I'm somewhere else here. He's always doing something crazy, always upsetting people. Not arrested from China right now. Came off a Sotheby's auction a minute ago. Disobedience was a huge multi-chain release here. And what's going on next, Patrick?
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll get better at this applause cadence.
I feel like, we've gone through a lot of phases and everything, but the fact that our arguments outside of Minotti's coffee shop in, May, June of 2021 has like turned into all of this, and this thing is sustained, I don't think means a lot. I think we have a really good community here, so just really grateful to see all of you here week in and week out, and I think this is something real. So just a thank you, Began, for making this all happen.
We're still here. We're not completely broke yet, okay? We're going to find out what art to buy tonight and get
that being said, there's so much blood in the water right now. I'm just happy.
You like it? I did save. I'm just literally, I'm like, okay, what do we talk about? I just go through Patrick tweets and I'm like, God, he's angry at everyone with that one. There's another one. Like it's content for days here. Okay, someone brand new in the panel that I just met very recently, and it was one of the things where we started talking, and first of all, we always call Aventuring the has the most jobs in Web3. You might be beating Aventuring for the most jobs. Very intense. Someone who's been in the space for so long, he knew Beeple before Beeple was selling art. Okay, and he's actually helped people and a bunch of other artists release their artwork, has had actual physical galleries before, has a new one coming back up again. Part of so many various projects here, Digital Native, which is helping a bunch of different people launch cool artwork, Ivy Gallery, 30 other things. Vincent, what's going on?
master of none, right? That's what it said. But no, some of them are working. Appreciate being here. This is awesome. I came here for the first time last week, and I met some great people, and I see some faces here today, so it's cool. So appreciate you putting this on and inviting me along. So I'm from a traditional art background, but I can't paint. I just help other people that can paint. And I had galleries in New York and LA, and we launched quite a lot of successful artists over the years to go from sellout shows in the Lower East Side to then millions of dollars at auction with Sotheby's and Christie's and selling at Gagosian, which is the top of the art food chain. Now, some guys that everyone loves, the Winklevosses, were... That's right? You still love them? Okay. Were clients of the gallery. And Tyler gave me a call one day in 2020, early 2020, said, you know what an NFT is? I said, I've seen a crypto kitty. And he said, well, we've got this platform that we built called Nifty Gateway that we want to launch, and we want some help with it. So I partnered with him on it, and we tested some of our artists, and then launched a few more, including Beeple and lots of others. And people like to talk about numbers in this space. So we did over 100 million in sales of artists, and a lot of them are driving Lamborghinis now that weren't before they met me. I don't have a Lamborghini. They have a Lamborghini. Some of them blew them up as well, actually. And we turned it into an art piece. I don't know if anyone was in Miami a couple of years ago, but we took an exploded Lamborghini from one of our artists and helped him turn it into a sculpture. But anyway, that's another story. So many stories.
This is the best intro I've ever
heard.
heard.
It's cool, right?
Yeah.
And anyway, a lot going on, still helping artists. But across film, music, launching projects in ordinals with Sotheby's, launching movie distribution projects. I have a ticketing platform on Avalanche and all sorts of going on. And we've just got into meme coins, which for a good reason, but I don't want to talk any more about that.
There's going to be
Until
everybody.
If you look at the chat, you can figure out probably which meme coin. Okay, people.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we might dive a little bit deeper into that as we go on. Okay, well, actually, maybe that's a good place to start because truthfully, it has been a pretty insane, degenerate, couple of weeks, maybe couple of months here, and we have been seeing some conversation about the artists of what the fuck do we do right now? And I saw you put a tweet about it, essentially about how other artists aren't taking your sales, or meme coins aren't taking your sales, because there's been a lot of people saying the reason why we can't sell some art is because these people are gambling on meme coins, and if we can just get them to stop, buying Jenner, they'll buy my art. And so, I don't know, we want to elaborate what made you tweet this?
It's so dumb to think that if someone wasn't going to buy a meme coin, the next in line was your art piece. It was just going to be another meme coin, or it's just not your art. I feel like just understanding that it's on you. I don't know, it's kind of the responsibility of being in a decentralized space is that nobody's going to be doing this for you. It's on you to build your relationships. It's on you to network. It's on you to find collectors. No one does any of this for you. So to expect that or to think that something like another artist or a meme coin is going to be taking what is coming to you, I think is just a fundamental misunderstanding of how this all works. So I think it's just important to just recognize that and go do the work that's required to build the network to actually sustain you as an artist.
And I think part of that is at least the way that I see it, and when I hear that argument from people, it really comes down to a few things when you strip back the layers of it's a scapegoat because they see something that makes them feel inadequate, and then they're like, oh, well, this is the reason that I feel this way, instead of looking at themselves and saying everything you just said, it's about building the network, it's about having the right timing, it's about the market, who has liquidity, all that stuff, and they take this scapegoat and they say this is the reason this is happening. And I feel a lot of people operate from a place of lack, right? They operate from this place of well, if this is working here, then it's not working here, and it's everything is a zero-sum game, instead of seeing that like you said, people are not just going to go from a meme coin to art. And I mean, the other way I think about that is think about how many movies Tornado Shark, whatever the fuck that thing was called. Sharknado. And it's how many millions of dollars did that take to make? There is so much money out there that we just can't be sitting here saying well, fuck, Sharknado got made, so that's why my art isn't making any fucking money. It's that's not how that works. You know what I mean? It just sounds so absurd.
Yeah.
But I feel
Thank you, Ed.
I don't feel it's the artists out here saying, oh, you're buying meme coins, so that's why you're not buying my art. I literally have seen collectors saying, hey, I put money in meme coins, and that's why I'm not buying your art. So what do you say about that? Because if the collectors are saying that, that's why the artists are saying, oh, so that's why.
I mean, I'm in collector, discords, and there's a degen section, and it's more active than the art section.
Hey, you're not buying,
Because
literally.
meme coins can throw them immediate profits. They'd have to wait too long to get profits on art if they wanted to flip it.
Yeah. I think like, and I've said this before, and I think it's worth saying again. It's like art is kind of like the end game for a lot of people, because it's like, you know, it's a flex to walk into someone's house and see like a disobedient on their wall, right? That's a flex to be able to see art and be like, whoa, you own a Patrick Abaddon, like that's really cool. It's like it's less of like a flex, but more of a necessity to be like, okay, I just 100x this coin. Now I can like, you know, eat for the next few months. And I feel like with a lot of these people, like that's kind of what their MO is. I mean, some collectors are full time in this space, but some of them, this is just like fun money for them too. And I think that's part of it. It's just like they don't want to go into the negative. And I think that is part of it. But you're totally right. I mean, I've definitely had people say like, I've had people even say like, oh, I'm not going to buy your thing because I'm actually going to buy this other artist thing in a few days. And I'm like, why would you say that to me? That's so mean.
I've seen that too. But like, yeah, it is this thing about like, oh, I'm trying to get my funds up, so that's why I can't purchase your art, but I'll do a retweet. And I'm like, okay, cool, I appreciate it. But like, that's usually the conversations I'm getting. So, and I'm not like, oh, but I mean, if someone says that to me, literally, is that not the issue here? Like, oh, they can't buy my art because of a meme coin? Or is it they're lying? I mean, which is also something. But
I think people can do whatever they want with their money. It's the whole thing. I think everyone is, you know, everyone loves decentralization. Everybody loves this idea that everyone can do what they want until someone does something they don't like.
So
you know,
true.
like the minute somebody says something that offends you, it's like, I want to cancel them. I want to stop them from talking. Or somebody buys something, they want to like get them to buy something else because, you know, decentralization is great when it's working for you. And I feel like part of that is just, a lot of those people aren't being necessarily very honest when they say that. Like, no, like they're probably not going to buy your work if they told you it's all invested in meme coins. Otherwise, they would get your stuff. Like, that's not really how any of this works. I think ultimately it just comes down to like your art being able to like impact somebody, your art being able to like demonstrate something in a real way, like your art providing more value to them in that moment than whatever their alternatives are. Because you can buy anything with money, right? And how do you make your art be the thing they actually want to get before anything else? And I feel like that comes down to the artist really kind of getting their, just doing the marketing, doing the narrative, doing what they can do to make it interesting. And I think it requires a lot more from artists now than it did in 2021. 2021, everyone's just gambling on, wow, that is really loud and echoey.
We're going to get it, don't worry.
I'll dial it in. I think you just have to do more now. I don't think a cotton candy colored astronaut is going to sell the way it did in 2021. Like we're beyond that. Like art has evolved, tastes are evolving. You have to just be in front of that. And I think a lot of the stuff that is just really purely intended to be like popular for the greatest common denominator, which historically has just been kind of like shit as traditional art, won't play as well now as it would have in 2021, because I think ultimately like it's going to be right back to where we are with kind of the contemporary world, is like you got to be edgy, you got to be pushing stuff. Like your art has to be evoking a reaction.
Know about that now.
Otherwise you're not going to be able to move the space forward. It's just going to be more competitive. And I think that the art and the artist has to appreciate that and do more.
I think fundamentally you're right, but the fact of the matter is, like, you know, to Postok's point earlier, that everyone's here to make money and then they kind of fall into art. And I've kind of always thought the same thing is going to happen with ordinals, for example, because I don't think the art has really blown up there yet because people are still waiting to get paid. And I mean, I'm an art collector. I would consider myself that for sure, but I am not actively buying art right now because my focus is 100% on making money on meme coins. Unless I can flip your art, but I'm not buying it to collect right now. I'm buying art to flip. Purely,
and I think
because the nature of our space. I mean, that's just, I think, a lot of it too.
See, those are the DMs I get.
And I think that like goes to the tweet that's up here too. And I think that's like a really good point, is that like, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. And I think like Patrick just said, like it is okay to be like using your money the way you want to be spending it. I think you have every right to do that. I think the other thing with that though is like, for artists to know, like it says up there, I don't know if it's 75, oh, now I don't have a mic at all. I don't know if it's like 75-25, but I really do think that like there is a percentage of people that like are just gonna buy things to flip it, right? And it's just like, then you're gonna have people that actually are convicted in like a long time hold. It's like, I released a project today. I'm okay with the fact that it did not sell out immediately because I am interested in having people who are really fucking interested in the art and what I'm building with it. Because what I'm building with it is like a really cool generator where you can bring your own rare sat and you can generate your own derivative. I don't want flippers to have that. I don't want them to have that. I am not interested in that. I am interested in people using it and doing and like holding it for the reason that like it is art that will create more art. And like I the way I keep telling myself is just like immediate sellout, floor maintenance. Slower sellout, more conviction. You know what I mean?
Real quick, Trevor, before you go, because this is another conversation we can just wrap in this, because the other biggest debate did happen. And Brian put out the tweet.
Trying to roll you into your next.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You did. It was perfect. Brian put out a tweet and he said essentially like, you got to be marketing your shit, and that's kicked off a shitstorm. A bunch of artists were like, I'm not here to be a marketer. I'm here to be an artist. And then people fought on both sides. And now I'm hearing a bunch of stuff where Patrick's saying, do more, do some marketing, right? I've been watching Postwook do marketing, and I think it's helping, So it's like it's the debate is pretty tough about this.
People have been so lazy, and I feel like the space has been so encouraging of that. I mean, like, do you look at kind of what came out of 2020 when you mint anything, you get two big collectors to just go signal to everybody else, and everybody jumps in on it. So you just move to the next thing, you move to the next thing, you move to the next thing. There's no narrative, there's no contextualization. It's literally just artists that are currently like in the spotlight, pumping out stuff as fast as they can because it's selling. And I think that was obviously going to die. That was going to lose steam, and that's what we're seeing right now. And I think what's required in the moment is people actually be very intentional and thoughtful about what they're putting out, do proper work to market, provide narrative around these drops. I think it's just forcing artists to do the hard work that I think we all kind of got away from not having to do the last couple of years in the sake of just kind of like getting it out there quickly. I think the space is just more competitive. It's just more similar to how art would be released in the real world.
Yeah, and I think
it just requires more.
Well, and I think to your point about that too, it's just like the way that I kind of see this like whole like flipper narrative, right? Is like, as an artist, I know you've been an artist for a really long time. Sorry, Ed, I will let you.
No, this is great. I love this. Way you got a great Ed reaction the whole time. That's why he's
laughing.
This is why IRL's better. Okay, you don't see this on the spaces when you just spam the emojis. Keep going.
Well, the thing is, I think like all of us on this panel have been artists for a while, right? And I think that that's something too. It's just like I'm not interested in just like making a whole. And there's nothing wrong with AI. I'm not trying to say, but it's like I'm not interested in just being like, okay, like cotton candy astronaut, like imagine.
Guys, stop shitting on cotton candy astronauts.
Okay, 30 ETH, like let's roll this back like 500 times. It's like I'm not interested in that. Like I have a fucking career. You can Google Postwook and like real shit shows up. You know what I mean? Like I say that to say that like artists, like other people have said, it's a long game, right? And I think for all of us, it is a long game. But like what 2021 and like just that crazy meta did for this space is like it made artists into commodities. And I think some artists lost the plot, and they were like, fuck it, I'm just gonna like become essentially I'm gonna become like a JPEG meme coin and make as much money as I can. And now where are they? Unfortunately, like
Dark Farms is doing great.
Dark Farms is actually a meme coin though. I'm talking about the people in 2021 that like I'll sometimes go through Super Rare and it's like, like the 15th of the month, the 17th of the month, the 18th of the month. It's like 35, 45, 75 ETH. And I'm just like, what the actual fuck? Because now, where are they?
Well, you're exactly right about this. And I think the point is like, I think we all saw a bunch of people just like taking the brakes off a little bit and just not doing things very thoughtfully because the rewards were there. Meanwhile, a lot of artists are thinking about this thing long term, and you're like, hey, like scarcity matters, right, guys? Like putting out quality work matters. And you saw so many peers get rewarded for not putting out quality work, just putting out fast work. And now I think that rubber band's back twice as hard when it contracts. When everything's expanding, cool, great, that works. But now that it's contracting, you see a lot of people being punished pretty severely for just, in retrospect, having minted maybe a lot of stuff they shouldn't have, scarcity in fact mattering. Like the laws of basic economics will always apply at some point. And I think we got out of that in 2021. I think a lot of people learned lessons that weren't actually how the world worked. And I think that now that we've snapped back a little bit, that behavior is being punished, and artists that have been thoughtful and considerate and have developed their careers in an intentional way are being rewarded. It's hard for everybody right now, but you look at like what's happening with your drop, like people are responding really well, and you're somebody that has consistently put out good work and hasn't just hit the gas because, degenerates were being degenerate.
Patrick, you're very thoughtful in the space. So how do you feel, or how do y'all, for the rest of the panel, reconcile that maybe an artist can be hired as part of a meme coin team and produce art anonymously over multiple meme coin projects as far as memes or actual art, but then they can use that to pay the bills and then kind of work on their own thing in their own time.
Maybe I work for BMW. I have clients, you know what I mean? Like I do off-chain shit, you know what I mean?
Wait, the ticker's BMW?
No.
Oh,
like,
sorry.
Like the car company hires me to do things. That's what I feel like every artist will do that. I mean, maybe not like the anonymous part, but like artists should take commercial projects. You know
Well,
what
no,
I
the
mean?
anonymous part is tough because there is that we've discussed before. Of sometimes people will be like, "Wait a minute, you have a stuff for BMW sellout. You're not against against the man." Like, and then if you're an anonymous meme coin, you're making money. We don't know. You're only post with the artist. How does she make money? Like, I don't. If we don't know, it's mysterious.
Something I wanted to. I really.
Wait, hold on one second. Patrick, which car company do you work for? And then go ahead and answer Faith's.
Lamborghini.
So I think it's a really good question though. Artists should do whatever they need to do to make their living. Like if you're doing art for meme coins, cool. If you have to take a side job, cool. I think what matters is that you are able to provide enough for yourself that you don't have to step away from art. Because I think as long as you can stay here, continue making art, continue your practice, you're going to end up in a really good place. I don't think you can step away. So I think what you have to do is figure out how to make it work. So if you have to do something like that, cool. I think the only thing to consider in a situation like that is this will all become public probably at some point in the future. So just make sure what you're doing will reflect well on you when people look back in your body of work in the future. Don't think that being anonymous now will be anonymous later, because we've seen with a lot of tech and everything else, like it's pretty easy to like dig in and figure out this stuff if you put the resources towards it. You know, you don't even need Zach XPT
If
to do
Zach
it.
wants to find you, you're getting found. So
just like, do what you need to do, but just know that like anonymity isn't maybe the anonymity you think it might be.
Something
So
that really needs to be said is that all of the artists that would consider to be big, or I mean at least in what I would think of, they all still have jobs that are not this. And I think that because I came in 2022 and it was never in my mind that I would get to quit my job and just make money off of selling NFTs. And I think that's a really dangerous narrative that a lot of artists have been pushed. And so I think we all need a reality check. And I'm with Ed. I'm like the one that's going to be like, look, maybe we need a little to get in touch with reality for a second. And I'm not saying you have to be starving, but like, round yourself out. Like, do more than just try to sell your NFTs. Because like Patrick's saying, if that's all you're focused on, then you're going to be like, oh, I got to release another project. Then, your supply is fucked. And so then you just ruin your entire market and career.
Well,
I don't know.
I think you kind of nailed it there. Like you don't ever want to be in a position where you have to release bad art to make your rent.
Exactly.
Like because that is on chain forever. Like you release bad art into the world, it's out there forever attached to your name. Like you don't want to be in a position where you have to do that. And if you have to take a side job so you can only produce good art, do that.
100%.
I think that's an important thing. Like just appreciate that like everything you do reflects on you, and your status as an artist, your ability to have a career is going to be greatly impacted by what is perceived as your body of work. I don't know. But what do you think about that?
All good advice. This is good to hear. So carry on.
No, I was just saying, Vincent actually. No, actually, it's actually since you come from like having the trad art background and went into here, like in trad art, we think of the marketing typically is actually not done by the artist, right? And then when we came over to Web3, a bunch of people were like, "It's decentralized. We can do whatever we want. It's in our hands." Wait, we have to market? Fuck! I didn't know like that would happen. But there is mixes in between. We're seeing curators and platforms and gallerists. Like, how do you think it should work now? So like.
If you're doing, as an artist, if you're doing this right, you need help. You'll get to a point where you're being so successful, you just want to focus on your work, and you need some help with the rest of it, because that's all you really want to do. You don't want to run a business. You want to create art. That's the whole point. And it's one of the toughest things in the world to do to make money out of creativity. People don't realize we are coming into an age where where there's more opportunity, but it's still really, really, really tough. And then if you decide to go the fine art route with your commercial direction, whether it's in the traditional world or it's in the new digital space, in the NFT space, in the meme space, it's a niche thing. And only a few people will make good money. It's really, really tough. So for me, anyone that's prepared to take that gamble, I like to help. There is you made a good point about trying to pay the rent and create art. There's a school of thought that I talk about that a lot of people don't like to hear, but I've had galleries since 2010, and every artist that we represented, this is probably going to sound like bad advice.
I love it already.
They didn't have a job. I didn't work with anyone that did this on the side. It had to be all or nothing. If we don't make this work, if I can't sell my work and can't sell my paintings and can't turn this into a career, I don't pay my rent, I don't eat. And that mindset was combined with, this is going to sound bad as well, an element of ego, self-belief, bordering on egomaniacal, we need to have it, is what was needed to kind of push through and make them a successful artist. So you do need to do what you do to need to survive, but very quickly try and get to the point where you push yourself to like, I have to make this work. And then you'll put yourself out there, more opportunities will happen because you put yourself out there. Sounds like completely bad financial advice, but as a gallerist, this was something we looked for.
You can be committed to your art and still have a side job.
You can. It's bad advice. Don't take it as advice. I'm just saying. You got to pay your rent, but
It's
yeah.
There's a lot has been said. Especially in 2021, that was what everyone was saying.
Well, that
You
was.
gotta
I'm
do
talking
this.
about before NFTs.
Nah,
This was.
Yeah, I know, but I'm
That
just
was
talking about,
that
I'm
was
talking
not
about
real.
when
What happened in 21?
I'm just telling you about like
Yeah, yeah.
2021 of like why there are a lot of artists of today who are just like, yo, what's going on? I can't move. Like, how am I supposed to sell? I'm not making these sales, et cetera, et cetera. And so it is a lot for people when they came into like 2021, and then now they're like, okay, what the hell am I supposed to do? You know, I guess I hear you.
That's Barknado.
I think at the end of the day, it is up to you. Just like, how are you going to be able to survive? What do you need to do? Is it more, do you have to see yourself more than just an artist, but like a brand? Do you need to talk to platforms? Do you need to figure things out of just like how you can find yourself, especially if you want to just stay in Web3, how you can find yourself as a necessity other than only being an artist? Because that's kind of what you need to do. I understand that I wear many hats. Not only am I an artist, but I'm also an event planner. You know, I create events and I do all these other things. I understand not everyone is like me, sure, but I do know my strengths. What else was I gonna say? When we talk about marketing and when we talk about teams, we really need to talk about money. And a lot of times I really get annoyed when people just like, oh, you gotta stop being lazy. You gotta stop. Half of y'all that do it have a whole bunch of money behind y'all, if we're gonna be honest. And I'm tired of people saying these things about like people being lazy. No, it's not about people being lazy. It's because they don't have resources. So if you want to be that person, if you're about that life, about trying to help people, then do that. Find ways to where you can get them resources where they can be able to market, but they're not here. We're talking about, marketing needs to be a way to do it. People can do these incredible trailers like everyone else is doing. I've seen it. I mean, you know, I'm not like, I can probably do certain things here and there, but I'm seeing other artists that, okay, this is not my forte. I don't know if I can do this. And we really need to start giving more grace to some artists, and because I'm literally seeing like this movement of artists who were in 2021 and made bags and are now kind of talking down to other artists who are literally struggling. And I'm not liking that, because you literally were like in the same place in 2021. So there needs to be some humbling going on, because it's actually annoying.
So don't be lazy about getting your resources.
Okay, so if I'm new, or if I don't have these resources, considering the fact that I may not be connected, how do I find them?
But this answers your question earlier. So there is a place in this space for people to help artists, for people to help market, for galleries, for platforms.
Where is this place to help artists? Because I've been in this space for quite some time. I know how to find them because I've been here for quite some time, and I have a big mouth. And I also was that person going on stages every day saying, where the fuck are the black people? So I need to know, where am I supposed to go? The reason why there are people like me who find resources is because I was that one saying, hey, go to this person, go to this person. I decided to take the time to do that. A lot of people are not about that life. A lot of people are like, okay, I can do this. That's me. And then maybe there's some people like, oh, Pat's doing that, or Natasha's doing that, let me hit them up. But literally, I was the one, I did my own Twitter spaces, and I was like, okay, word, I'm gonna do these Twitter spaces, and we're going to give alpha, we're gonna give information, because people weren't giving it to us. So I would go to other spaces, try to figure out what's going on. Okay, say there's no black people here, y'all need to diversify your stages, get all the information, go back to my BIPOC space that I would host with like Brittany Pierre and Patrick Wagner, have all the people of color and y'all people of color in that space, and then say, hey, this is what we're doing, this is what you need to know, blah, blah, this and that. Literally. And then I stopped because I got burnt out. I'm not seeing that. I'm barely seeing people talk about art. I'm seeing more people talk about the sales, and people telling me, oh, you need to be better at marketing. How? So yeah, tell me, and then I'll be willing to tell people, but I'm not seeing any ways to do it. I'm seeing people talk down to people, and it's really annoying. It's annoying as fuck. Sorry.
No, thank you. That was great, actually. Yeah, yeah. You give me a clap for that. No joke. Yeah, I think one of the most important things you bring up, because I think, Ed, you're like me, like we talk. And so when people talk about, like, how do you get yourself out there, if you know how to get on spaces and stages and you're gregarious, you can get out there, you can make connections. But I know some of the best artists, it's funny, because they'll come here week of week and they're in the corner drawing and you're like, who are you? And it takes time to meet them. And it's like, the opportunities don't come. And then there's other people who they'll come to this event and it's, hi, what's up? How are you? Check out my art. How are you? Check out my art. What's up? Check out.
And I understand that's a gift. And I'm not saying like you're not supposed to be out here. Closed mouths don't get fed. I totally get that. But I'm also like, yo, sometimes people just like, people need help. And there's not, the spaces that were out here 2021 are not here right now. Like, it's not what it was. Like, you, literally, at least in 2021, I would go on spaces, okay, they're talking about this. Okay, word. Let me go up there. I don't know nobody. Hey, so what y'all talking about? Literally, I would go to every spaces like, what are y'all talking about? Because I don't know what y'all talking about. Okay, cool. Thank you. And then go to another space. I literally was the space's whole. Like in 2021, I was going to every motherfucking space trying to get the information because I was like, oh, nah, y'all not gonna have me not know what's going on. I want to find out because I need to be here. That's not what it is right now. Literally, we're talking about meme coins. Well, so I need to know like how, where the resources
right now, like, what are you gonna do? Like, the problem is like, you have been hustling for a long time in the space. You have put more effort into this than a lot of people, and you are a well-known, respected artist because of that. Right now, we're all looking at the result of your efforts over the last year or two, right? You can't just like throw this thing in a microwave and be done in 30 seconds. Like, you have to put in so much work building relationships with collectors, which take 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years.
Okay,
you have to meet artists that takes 3 months, 6 months,
but that makes more sense versus saying people being lazy, though.
You have to put in consistent effort over a very long period of time. When I got in the space, I found this space. I was doing Twitter for 10, 12 hours a day for months. And that was how I got to meet a bunch of people, and I kept that up because all that work you do, networking, building out your network, and getting to know people, it all comes later. Like, it's all delayed gratification.
I respect that,
so
but that's not what's being talked.
Well,
people aren't talking about that.
You have to do so much work to make that work.
Can I, like, bridge this? I think I'm hearing both of you, and I want to, like, combine it really quick.
I'm disagreeing with Pat, so I don't know how you're going to come. I'm kidding.
I think, like, what I'm hearing is, like, people expect, like, the laziness that people expect is they just think, like, they'll be able to press the mint button, and then 30 seconds later, they're going to get an email that says, your reserve has been met. And, like, that's just not going to happen. I think that, like, the effort comes from having the connections with the collectors, like, going into spaces, getting up and speaking, asking questions. Like, I am very, like, one of my, like, favorite things to do is if I'm in a space with someone and they're talking about something I like, or I have a conversation with them and I see an article that, like, reminds me of them, I send it to them. And I'm like, hey, like, what do you think about this? And we talk about it, or they have a tweet. I am no stranger to sending people their own tweets and DMs and, like, responding and then having a conversation with them. I love doing that shit. Because honestly,
I'm always in DMs.
Like, I send vegan DMs about Garfield all the time. I don't even know if you see them, but I do. I love it. I love it. And it's just like, to me, it's just like, those connections are not forced. They're the things that I want to be doing, but, like, it takes effort. And I think to Patrick's point of, like, it can take 3, 6 months, 9 months, whatever, a year to, like, actually get a collector to a place where you feel comfortable enough to ask them, like, hey, I have this new thing coming out. Are you interested in getting in on it? And that, to me, is, like, the biggest thing, because, like, I know one of the other topics is, like, how do we feel about, like, marketing and private sales and stuff? And I feel like
we're not even talking about the private sales, which is a huge thing, which also, you know, I'm like, listen, I just want people to be honest and be like, I just feel like there's like, oh yeah, you gotta do this and you gotta do this, and then that's why. Like, no, it's not like that. We literally are strategic in how we do and how we move in this space.
I want to tie it back to what Vincent was saying earlier about not working with artists that aren't full-time artists. And what we're seeing right now is, because the space contracted, it's harder to sell art. It's much, much more competitive than it used to be. And the difference between a successful artist, someone who can, like, make a living doing this, and somebody who can't, is just a few percentage points. There's not a huge difference between somebody who can't make it in the space and somebody who is currently making it in the space. And you got to say, like, well, what's the difference? Because there's a huge difference from the outside, but what's the difference? How does that work? And a lot of times it just comes down to this one person was able to dedicate more time and effort effectively into building out their network, into building out their art, and did all this work in advance. Because the actual difference in percent is so narrow, and the more competitive a space gets, the more that little percentage difference makes a giant difference between making it or not. So when you talk about not having a second job, you talk about freeing up 10, 20, 30, 40% of like kind of your mental space, right? If you have a second job, you're like, oh, I'm trying to work on art. Maybe like, because in 2022, I got my second job down to maybe 10% of my time, but it was taking up 30, 40% of like what was going on in my head. And it wasn't until that I got rid of that second job and able to reallocate all the amount of time I spent thinking about that to art that I was able to actually kind of break free to a little bit. And that was kind of what did it for me, was being able to just give myself that little extra boost. And that came from getting out of my second job. So for a lot of people, whether it's getting out of your second job or not, it has to do with like, you're in a competitive space. How do you give yourself just that little bit of an edge so you can be the one that kind of pops out and gets noticed?
Yeah, if you can wake up just a little earlier and you do a cold plunge right away and then hit the art, you can be the number. But yeah, I'm with you, Patrick. We got some other things, but we got a couple people over here. Bear Snake, what's up?
Hi guys. I just had a question for everybody. I'm not sure if it's pointed to anyone specific, but I was wondering if you guys think that there's space in our community to be just an artist without having to have the skill set to market yourself. And if you do think that there's space for those people, what needs to like be built? What support system needs to be built for the people that don't necessarily have the right and left brain? We were talking about it earlier.
I mean, based off Pat, you just should already
There's
figure it
infinite
out.
space in the blockchain. They can have all the space
No,
they want.
that's you're missing my point.
No,
My
no,
point,
I know.
yeah, you know, yeah.
But
yeah.
the point is like we
should
don't
know that.
have the infrastructure in the space right now. Everybody who's writing about artists, everybody who's hosting spaces for artists, everyone who's doing podcasts for artists is doing it because they like doing it. We don't have art news. We don't have art newspaper. We don't have galleries. We don't have an infrastructure.
galleries.
Ooh, I was gonna
We
say
don't
though.
have
So
galleries.
that's my
We don't
question:
have-
is
we don't
like,
have
what
an
do you need? Do you
infrastructure.
need galleries? Because I know
There are
you and I love you, Patrick. You know this, but we've sparred about like this layer that exists in the traditional art world that I know that you're maybe against. Is like this idea of like someone representing artists or people who can't represent themselves because they don't have the ability to do that. I know some of the best artists don't have the ability to talk to people who are going to buy their artwork. They don't know how, they can only speak to their art. They don't know how to sell themselves. And so like that's what's plagued, right? That's how like the traditional art world came to be, is like there's galleries because artists they're introverts and they don't know how to talk to people. It's gotten perverted over the years, obviously. But like what needs to happen for artists to be successful without having to like be the person on, hey, shut up, Ed. What has to happen for artists who don't know how to speak for themselves and connect with buyers?
There's a lot of brilliant artists who will not be discovered for a very long time because right now in the environment as it is, if you can't run a 3-ring circus on Twitter, you're not going to get noticed. And
That's so
just
upsetting, though.
It's terrible. Yeah, it's tragic, right?
We're adults on Twitter
It's
Spaces.
tragic.
It's
I know.
terrible.
But until the space gets a little bit more developed and we have more people writing about artists, contextualizing artists, putting on shows, more curators, we need more infrastructure in place to help those stories come out. Because right now there is no avenue for the artist stories to come out other than the artists themselves. And what
Is that
infrastructure-
publications? Is that galleries? Are those people like representing the artists?
Twitter
all of it?
Spaces. You know the
it's
answer.
Everything.
No!
It's
Twitter
everything.
Spaces. But
It's
it's not
everything.
enough.
It's everything. It's a
Yeah,
mix.
we
It's
don't
not
have that
enough,
yet.
And
Yeah.
I feel like this is where the issue is. Like even some of these artists that are incredible in this space don't even have the audience in this space. So it's also something where you're just like, man, how are they going to continue on to be able to survive in this space that doesn't have the audience until the audience comes in? That was something I had about, like I was thinking about, just like when it comes to like even some black artists, of just like how, you know, their art might be too niche, right? And so like, what does that mean? And if the audience is not here, do they just leave the space and wait? You know, like these are conversations. We're gonna have these conversations. Let's have them.
Yeah.
And let's actually talk about, okay, there's no infrastructure. What does that mean? Okay, then maybe your audience isn't here. What is there a place for you? We talk about there's so much space. Is there only space for certain type of people, certain type of artists? If we're gonna have the conversation, let's fully have it.
Yeah,
Because
but-
I'm tired of like going around.
Well, being early and wrong are the same thing, right? So, I don't know.
Well,
I
it's
also
funny.
think there's something to be said about like refining your practice and continuously like honing in on like, you know, creating something that is, you know, like something that portrays your message appropriately that also is a good market fit for like the people that are hanging out there. A lot of people just expect this shit to happen overnight, right? Just like SoundCloud rappers expect to fucking blow up overnight, right?
happens.
It doesn't fucking happen.
Yeah.
It doesn't fucking happen. And a lot of people don't understand the moving parts that go on behind the scenes to actually make stuff like that happen. The advocacy that's involved with like actually getting your name out there and like people spreading your name and your work via word of mouth, right? Like there's a whole bunch of shit out there that people don't understand, and everybody just thinks that all you need is 5 friends to buy your work and you can be
It
a
used to
successful
be that way.
artist.
That's kind of why.
right?
Like it used to be just.
I think you make a really good point. I mean, you had me at message. I think the thing is people like who don't understand it just see the thing and they're like, that thing was successful, but they don't understand the mechanics that went into making it successful. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of narrative. It takes a lot of stuff to like make this work. And I think you just have to put in the effort and appreciate that to like effort actually to be successful and to kind of pull it off.
Well, no, wait. I think one of the big things, and I think you touched on it earlier. It's this idea that we all talk about: just make the best art and just keep doing it, and you'll do it. And it's like, no, everyone who is a successful artist is strategic. No one is out there I'll just make art. The only way I think you can just make art and be successful is if you are a Beeple character who said, I did 5,000 days where I put out fucking art every single day. I posted it every single day.
Nobody cares.
That's still
But
strategic.
even that was
there's
strategic.
other
though.
people.
But like prior to Web3, like that was strategic.
But I'm saying, like, if you are putting anything out there, like you're going to be perceived by people. Your like image is going to be perceived. You have to think about it.
You have to consider your collectors. Like there's a lot of people that we're doing every day. So what made people stand out, right? The thing is a lot of the collector space are new to art, which is great. You know, it's great that we have a lot of people that are new to art that are willing to collect art. But a lot of the people are coming from a finance background. They're coming from, random crypto backgrounds. No, there's not a lot of people collecting art that are coming from kind of a traditional art perspective. So there's not a lot of people that are looking at the art the same way that like a gallerist or someone who's been like hitting every gallery in Soho for the last 30 years would look at a piece of art. So you have to appreciate what those people are looking for. And if you look at the artists right now, the people that are being able to actively develop a community, develop a following, develop like through social media, like you're going to want to bet on those if you don't know much else, because those people seem to look like they know how to move it. Whereas these other people may create really good work, but again, you're not very versed in art. You don't know, like, might be good work. Your gut says it's good work, but you don't know because you haven't been around this long enough. So it takes a lot longer for those stories to bubble up because, again, we need the infrastructure. We need the writers. We need the people talking about that and being able to convey your message for you if you can't do it yourself. In the meantime, collectors are going to gravitate to the people that look like they're being successful now because that's one of the best signals that they have. So there's a lot of inequality built into the space as it is.
Okay.
And it's really like important to address that and appreciate that and acknowledge that, but also look at like, hey, how do you actually improve this? And I think a lot of it has to do with supporting people that are actually writing and doing the work to get the stories of these lesser the artists that have a lesser ability to be able to convey it on social media. Because there are a lot of brilliant artists out there that will never be seen until probably they're dead because they didn't know how to pull the levers to get their story out.
And I mean, we're talking about only sorts right now. It seems, I'm sorry, I know you wanted to speak. Well, and I got you. I just want to also like add music to the conversation and other mediums to the conversation, because what I'm noticing is that it's, for some reason in this space, it's still only on visual art, which I guess it's big. But literally, we have music out here that's literally dying, and it's literally dying in Web 2. The music industry is literally dying, and we can find ways to try to fix it in this space. And when it just doesn't make any sense. And so when you talk about people who are in this space who are literally like trying to find ways to do things, you also see them dealing with barriers of just people saying, oh, because they're not successful enough, because you don't have X amount of this and that. I don't even know how they're able to figure out what success looks like in this space, because you can sell something out and then literally you can just not the next day because this is how the market is this bad. But I'm seeing people saying, oh, you're not successful, so that's why you don't understand how to move in this space, and therefore we can't allow you to do certain things. When I'm like, wow, this person was huge in Web 2, or they were doing a lot of things in Web 2, kicking down doors, and now they decide to move over here and do something. They don't need to be here, but they want to do something because they see promise in tech, or they see something like, oh, this can probably help musicians.
It's the Iggy Azalea argument.
Yeah, but I think
she's like, not.
Can you do one real quick? He's been saying, friend up here up front. Sorry, you've been waiting. Sorry about that.
I mean, the female.
Can you make that mic
Can you hear
louder?
me?
Yeah.
Cool. So like,
You can pull it out too if you want.
Yeah,
You're too tall.
just my general experience, right? Like, it's never enough for the artists, and I'm going to get scrutiny for saying that because I launched a $100 million campaign. You benefit from it partially. You benefit from it. You came to one of our events. At some point, now, granted, the person above me fucked it up and wasn't running it right, but at some point, there's a distribution channel where it's like the ask goes from what resources are from 300K to 2 million to 5 million. And when is it enough, right? And nobody is ever content. I think where the distribution should go is freemium. It should just all be free, because if not, why are we doing this? Why are you not on Artsy? Because it's the same centralized 3 or 4 people that we're all working with to make our art move, right? And to that point, it's a traditional buyer's market. It's a traditional seller's market. When you move art in the art market, now music is different, Ed, I'll give you the credit on that.
Okay.
But, no, I'm making a point of Patrick's points. Primarily, you're working with 2 or 3 clients, and you're really working the shit out of them to get them to buy your art. I agree with you on the point of doing that and through, but like the whole nature of we need more resources, you have like 3 or 4 buyers, you just work the shit out of them, you make good content, you work it like a traditional market. Everybody else, I think, just doesn't have the validity to like not put their stuff out there for free. I mean, I look at like, I don't know, Hidden New York or Welcome.jpg, where they're like constantly reposting other people's work for free on Instagram. They're copying and pasting, and they're getting millions of followers being the aggregate. Nobody's mad at that. Not a single person is mad at that right now. And those platforms are huge. They get the brand deals. They get all the brand deals, which is what an artist eventually strives for.
Yeah.
To some degree. So
that's like apples and oranges, though. I feel like viewership and then like owning art are like completely different conversations, right? Because I feel like I have 600,000 Instagram followers, right? Like I have millions of people who watch all my shit.
Light flex.
Sorry, and I think
Nice.
it's so weird because I look at that sometimes and I'm like, how the fuck did that happen? But like it's so funny because
Humble
like
flex.
that is like very different than like what I am trying to like do elsewhere, right? And I think that like there are a lot of people who view art and they like to view artwork. That is great. But like when it comes to owning artwork, I think that is like the ethos of like what we are interested in Web3, right? It's like you own the artwork. Instagram does not own the artwork, right? When you put it on there.
If you read the fine
It
print.
definitely does.
No, Instagram.
It 100%
Okay,
does.
maybe we'll say it that way.
This is why I'm not on
it's-
Instagram.
It's all on the app, right? It's like if
No,
you
I
lose
mean, you don't
Instagram,
have to
you
sell
lose
me on that.
everything.
I
Where
get
like
that
if
part,
you
but-
lose like let's say like Super Rare goes down, you still have all the wallet addresses of the people. who
yeah, but
collected them, right?
IPFS is 3 node providers, right? Like
Well, so I think it's like an alternate version.
that's
of
I think that's like
I just
the
feel
most
like you're not listening to what I'm
basic
saying.
level
Like I'm
argument that-
talking like these are 2 separate ideas that you're conflating to make a point, which I do think there are parts to what you're saying that are true. But like what I'm saying is like we are comparing apples to oranges to make a fruit basket that like we don't need to be making.
I like both the fruits in the basket. So like, this is like I think it's a good argument. Like you gotta compare the two. Like that's kind of an alternate version of the right-click save as argument, right? There's owning the artwork, and then there's the artwork being socially and broadly relevant. Like the platform's distribution, getting it seen, everything else. That's why my work is CCO, because what matters is people like know and appreciate the art. And that's important to get it out there. I think the platforms have a very like against the artist's incentive to like kind of class everything as content. You know, like that should be free. I think the problem with music is that we had Spotify, so we're used to music being $9.99 a month.
So we're trying to stop
and then
that.
we got,
$11.99 now.
and then we have sound come out and they say, hey, music is free here too, and that just like screwed every artist, musician in the space over. So you got to dig your way out of that one. So you know, good luck.
I need to say one thing. I'm so sorry, but we are really missing. I feel like there's a conversation that's happening that you're talking about we need more resources. We talk about we need more people and things in this space. But everybody in this space is so afraid of galleries. They are so petrified. When all the issues that you're talking about can be solved by good curatorial efforts by galleries. There are galleries that work to bring up new artists that they are noticing and that they see are working really hard and give them these opportunities. And there are people that are doing this that are in the space. And until we can acknowledge that, and Turip said it. He said it. We need more digital native builders creating consistent IRL experiences focused on digital art. I would say galleries. So why can there not be galleries that are built from this ecosystem and the ethos that this environment has offered us all of decentralization and bringing people together and changing the narrative? Why can we not do that?
Sure, where?
From my experience,
Where are they?
most of them are-
Patrick, you know where they are.
Let me answer that one. So it's a really good point, and up on this stage, obviously, are artists that have been very successful without galleries and without help, and
Anyone want to help me? I'm kidding.
and that's amazing. And then there are, it's up to you guys. But then, ideally, like in the traditional world, galleries would be knocking on your door, and they'd be coming to you. You've got to this far by yourself. We want to take you the rest of the way. That doesn't exist in this space. I agree with that. There's not enough galleries. There's only, there was me and Super Chief in 2020. That was it. And but we carried on doing the same thing we've done for 12 years. Most of the artists we work with, we need to support to start with. We need to pay for supplies. We need to pay for the artwork, and we need to help them get to a point. And 2020 just made everything go a bit weird, and a lot of people threw too much money, and we couldn't control those markets because all the platforms got a bit crazy with it. But we still continue to push in the space. I just don't make a lot of noise about it. We still continue to support artists. I pay for artists to be at art fairs. I do big installations in studios, so you have an IRL field. Yes, we're here.
Ed, you finally got what you wanted.
Hey, look, you finally connected.
So let's talk about Beeple for a second, because you made a really good point that Beeple was strategic to start with, and it's kind of about what you were talking about, how do you get discovered, how do we keep making the work and nothing's happening. So in 2020, there was no money in art, NFT art, but I liked the idea of it because I was looking for a way to make digital art stick. I've always been interested in digital art. It just makes total sense, obviously, as we push in the digital direction. We need to find a way for art to fit into digital art to fit into that. And obviously for years we haven't. But now there was a form of ownership of it. That was what interested me. So in 2020, I'm talking to artists about it, and everyone's like, well, no, I don't do that. That sounds crazy. So I experimented with a few guys that trust me because I've worked with them for years. NFN Calian was one, Wisby, and a few other guys, and we made it work. We started to build an audience for it, build markets for it. And then I thought, well, why I should really be going after the digital guys who are already here, who are right now illustrators, and they're working for hire, and they would love to be artists. They'd love to be doing gallery shows. They'd love to be being an artist in the true sense of the word, but they have to do client work because the audience doesn't exist for them. So maybe this digital audience could be for the digital artists. So I looked for these illustrators online, and what I went for was the guys that had the biggest following for what they did for fun. And that was Beeple, that was Fuck Render, that was Bill Ellis. There was a whole host of them that had 500,000 plus followers because people loved what they did for fun. And Beeple hit more than others with his following. He had 1.5 million followers at the time because he did social and political commentary that we could all get. The other guys were a bit more experimental with it, but we loved the imagery. So I hit them all up. Most of them said, what the hell are we talking about? Until I got Beeple to agree to do it. I was showing Begin the text the other day where people said no, first of all. I'll sell that one day as an NFT.
So I got to get my shit together or something like that.
Yeah,
I was
he
like,
didn't have time to do it. Well, no one had time
it.
for it. It didn't make sense to anyone. There was no money in it, and no one knew what was going on. So, but so we brought guys in that I thought we could turn into artists via this new medium, and then it started to hit, and the money started to come, and everything went crazy, and that's a whole other story. But my point is that People were strategic. He was putting his work out there, wasn't getting anything for it, but it led to an opportunity because someone like me who can give an opportunity was looking for someone to give an opportunity to. That's one example, and then there's plenty of examples to people I see on Instagram, kids I've met. One of the artists we work with, he works closely with the team. I met him when he was 18. He was an illegal immigrant, painting murals, selling shoes for $50, trying to just support himself and his family. And I've been working with him ever since, and now he's okay. And there's been so many guys, and Calian is another one that I've worked with for 12 years. None of them had any money. I didn't have any money to start with. I don't come from money. It was just, I really liked promoting creatives. It really, to me, it was something that needed to be promoted because creativity it makes us uniquely human. We're the only animal on this planet that creates for no purpose. There's no reason to make art. Sorry.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So you said you're not loud like that in the space, or?
I'm not, because I'm behind the scenes. A lot of the artists that we think of, they've been really successful. I'm behind them, but no one knows.
Okay. How can people know that you're a resource? Because I'm here now, so I guess maybe this question is probably.
But maybe I don't want them to know, so I don't. But I pick and choose who to.
Okay,
who to
so
work
people
with.
can just hit you up and say, "Hey."
They do. When I used to have the gallery in New York, I had an open door policy. Every gallery wouldn't talk to artists. That was the thing. I made all of my stuff had to talk to the artist. You had to, if you had to look at the portfolio. if you didn't think it was a fit, it wasn't whether you liked it or not, it was whether it was a fit for our program. If you didn't think it was a fit, you had to give advice on somewhere else to go that would be a better fit. And in the end, I just made a video that was a course of how to turn your art into money and just put it out on YouTube so that I could just direct people to it, just for fun. And it was like 6 hours of content of how to turn your art into money. So we've always done that. And then in this space, you can still hit me up. I mean, I still talk to anyone here. But we have limited resources who we can pick and choose to work with. We're not a marketplace, we're more of a gallery, and we work with artists for years, basically.
So and then I got a solution. We're gonna schedule. It'll be like the baseball scouts watching all the players. We'll get all the artists here, and we'll say, "Get out there, show me what you got. Be painting, be working. Let me hear you on a space." And then a bunch of Vincents will be out there being like, "Ed's looking good. He's looking strong. He's good on spaces. Okay, cool. Oh, he can do music too." And then it'll.
Do they still have to do like the pat behind the?
100%. Okay,
Yeah,
we're gonna.
But it's just more of like understanding like how much work you don't see that goes on behind the scenes, like how much work these artists put into like building out their networks, meeting with the collectors, like like you see a lot of these people like in all of the different cities, they're showing up and they're like paying to go like develop these relationships further, and that eventually often comes around. It takes a lot of effort. It takes coming to this thing. It takes going to other things. You just have to put in so much time to build out your network of people to support you, because this space, unlike the traditional art spaces, people buy in this space from artists that they know. Yeah. It's not so much the same thing. Trad art, people are willing to just buy art if they like it at a gallery. In this space, people buy from people they know. So if you're not getting to know all of the people that could possibly buy from you, you have a lot of work to do. And you always have a lot of work to do, because then people will get their bag and they'll stop collecting for a while, and then there'll be new people that come up. So you always have to be on top of like, who's buying new stuff on Super, who's buying new stuff here, who's buying new stuff there, who don't you know? How do you get to know them in like a tactful way?
Well,
it's a hustle.
Relationships with the collectors in the traditional space as well. It's really important. The big guys love having dinners with the artists. We've been doing it for years. And what's beautiful about the digital space, you're exactly right. You go and build relationships with the collectors, and they'll keep supporting you, become more of a patron than just someone that wants to buy your stuff. They buy into you, not just
This
buying
is like
the
a
work.
perfect kind of like segue here that I'm seeing, where it's like, Web 1 is like this idea of like the traditional art world. That's kind of how I see it, right? It's like the gallery puts on the artist show, the collector goes to the gallery, and there's an intermediary. And then like Web 2 is very much like, the ethos of Web 2 was very much like, screw the gallery, we're going to do it on our own, we're going to do it on Instagram. Instagram is now the gallery. Twitter is now the gallery, right? Like that media tab is now the gallery. Your Behance or whatever is now the gallery. Like we don't need the gallery. DeviantArt, right? And it's like, but now I feel like Web 3, it's kind of a mix of both. And I think that's okay. I actually like it, because it's like, before this space, like I didn't really interact with a lot of like the people who collected my work. I interacted a lot with fans, and I had to learn. I was thinking about that on the way here. It's like I had to learn how to interact with like
just one thing.
collectors.
We put this on at ComplexCon for one of our artists. So this is the type of thing we do. We put on a show for one of our artists. That was fun. Cool. Sorry, it just popped up. I was excited.
Yeah. So basically, it's like I think that having these like different kinds of relationships is like a good skill. And like when people ask me who like aren't in the space, like, oh, what do you do as an artist? And I'm like, I make art and I go to dinner. That's like what I tell them. I mean, that's the truth of it. It's like I go to dinner, I get on phone calls, I like call people while I'm on walks, and I make art. And like it's a lot of like soft skills and it's a lot of hard skills. You have to be good at making art, and you have to be good at talking to people and keeping relationships.
Problem is sometimes the best art comes from people who have zero soft skills, and that's why they're so good at art, is because of
I wish we had more time, because I think one of the things that I wanted to say earlier that just gets slipped is like, how do we feel about like the evolution of art and maybe like the natural selection of things, and I'd be curious, if anyone has post-show thoughts. It's like, I just feel like when I see art, and it's like, I don't think that there have been a lot of artists that at least can exist on social media that have not had to do exactly like what we're talking about. Like they've had to market themselves. They have to have a social media presence. They have to have some soft skills, even if they're through a screen. But like in Web 1, or not Web 1, but like the traditional art world, like that's obviously less of a thing. But I just feel like you have to have like a BFA at the very least, or an MFA, to like get into these like really good galleries. So it's like, in a way, like if you're not in that place already, you're pretty much relying on social media, and you have to have those soft skills anyway. So it's
or
like,
you have to have the SEO skills, okay?
That's what I'm saying. You gotta be able to. You gotta be a builder.
Yeah, we definitely need more time. Sorry, Troy. Day after. Sorry, you've been waiting for a minute.
Lord. I've had 4 Hello. Yo. I don't do this without this. I need an intro.
It's the day after.
Very good.
Gotta run the intro.
Producer tag.
Exactly. So, you know, the talk earlier was about infrastructure. And to me, what it sounds like, we just want validation. Like, if you're a dope artist, your work is going to speak for itself. And a lot of the people are just, all they want is validation. They want to be validated by Web2 art galleries or art shows or people with a large following, even in Web3 as well. But at the end of the day, we're in Web3. Through NFTs, I was able to meet people from all levels. One time I managed to be having dinner with a guy who's a part owner of the Timberwolves, and he won a ring when they won, and he bought an $800,000 Murakami artifact blade. But the only way I got to that place was because, you know, I was an owner of an NFT, and, you know, we're all here for the same communal reasons, and it gave me access to different people. So we don't need no infrastructure because we have Super Chief, Knox Gallery, my man over here.
Ivy Gallery.
Yeah, Ivy Gallery, and a few other ones that's on the crowd too. So at the end of the day, maybe your work is just not good enough.
Oh, snap.
Same with Web3 music. Just because you make it doesn't mean we should buy it.
Yeah, Ed.
I mean, absolutely. Just because you make it doesn't mean you should buy it. But that's the same thing for Web 2. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
literally artists that you know in Web 2 are only there because they have so much money behind them, and that's why you're hearing their music. The music may sound like a bop to you when you're listening, but the only reason it got to you was because they put millions of dollars to get to you, which is why we need infrastructure, because that there is with the money that they got, that they were able to have behind them to get the music to you.
No, yeah, that's the music. I know, I agree on that aspect.
Okay, but that's still an aspect. It's
Yeah,
still
yeah.
something. So it's still a medium, and it's still it requires. It shouldn't be dismissed in this conversation.
No, of course.
Okay, I just want to make sure it's not dismissed.
Yeah, and then you know, I just have a few more things to touch on since.
Let's hear, because my producers are yelling at me.
You know, and at the end of the day, right, like gatekeeping is what makes the art world what the art world is. If they allowed everybody in, then why should we go there, right? Patrick made it to Sotheby's. That's huge, but at the same time, right, like Sotheby's gatekeeping, the name Sotheby's has value for a reason, and then.
No.
You know, and just like Michelin stars too, like a lot of these restaurants, right? Once they get the Michelin star, that's their thing, and people go there just to find out, like, why does it have a Michelin star when there's good or better food somewhere else as well?
I think the problem is that through gatekeepers, we've seen a lot of like inequality like baked into this thing. Like, you know, you have to have so much privilege to be able to make a living in the traditional art world. You have to be like the cousin, sister, brother of a Gagosian to get a fair shot. There's so many people from around the world who don't have access to resources. They don't have access to art world. You can't walk to a museum if you're living in Ghana or Nigeria, or like look at a story of like Osinachi. There's so many people that wouldn't be able to meaningfully participate in the art world that now can participate in the art world because we've done a lot to like decentralize and open up. Like the world is much flatter in digital art than it's ever been before. So artists have a better opportunity than they've ever had before to access that. It's incredibly competitive. It's still a long ways to go with that. But if we talk about gatekeepers, if we talk about this, then we talk about like excluding so many people that would otherwise have a shot at being able to participate in this. Will it bubble up naturally? Yeah. Is a lot of the art not good enough? Yes. A lot of it isn't good enough. Is a lot of the art doesn't resonate with an audience now? No. Will it resonate with an audience later? I don't know. But the thing is like, I think we have to rely on decentralization to give a much broader shot to a lot more people. And if we start talking about, wait, what if we just dialed it back? What do we like, let Sotheby's pick who's a good artist? I think we're going to end up with the same shit we had before. And I think that there's so much more promise in what we have now. And I think we have to just stick with that and encourage that despite how difficult it is during the winter right now. Stick through this and let a lot of the good stuff that we come up with in the space go back out into the traditional art world and make it a little bit more accessible and equal for everybody else.
Pick a lane. I'm sorry. No, pick a lane. You're saying it, you know, there's not enough opportunities for people, you know, in the trad art world. So there's all these opportunities now, but you're saying, oh, you better make sure that you're doing your art full time and nothing else because that's who's going to survive. That's natural selection. That's who's going to make it to the top. Like, I can barely even follow this logic here right now. Like,
well, guess what,
which
guys?
one is it?
If you guys didn't know, this show, there's actually multiple parts to it. There's not just this live part. We all gather here to actually talk IRL in person. We've done it, okay? Everyone's fighting. Everyone's pretty spicy. There's more takes to be had. We will now transition to the next part, which is a post show. I think hopefully Los might be running around interviewing people. We'll have some of these debates in person, and we will definitely schedule an all art show soon again. I think we might need more of this than
Yes.
meme coins because it's got a little bit spicier. Before we end, though, everyone on the panel, just want to give last shout-outs for anything they got coming out. Ed Balloon, narrator. What's going on?
Okay, wow.
Wow, sorry, Ed. We got to end soon.
Okay,
sorry.
so this is a piece, an incredible piece that I have now that's on highlight. We're trying to hit 250. We're currently at, I think, 145. Please collect, and well, if you collect it, if it hits 250, we'll drop a song in. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Beautiful. And we're all going to argue with Ed right after this, okay? He's here in person, okay? Post-Hook, Astronomer's Daughter, what's going on? How do we get it? How do we learn more?
The Astronomer's Daughter is live now. You can find it at theastronomersdaughter.io. You can go to any social media page that I have, and it'll be there. It's currently minting. If you care about the art and you want to talk more about it or you just want to chat with me, I am happy to do so. Thank you so much for having me.
Beautiful. Thank you. Post-Hook and applause. Yes, Shava's going to bark every time. Patrick, you got anything coming up? You always do.
Go look at their projects.
Boom, there we go. Nice. Patrick passing off the shill here. Vincent, thanks for coming for the first time. What's going on? What's next? Gallery opening soon?
I agree with what Patrick said. Look at their projects as well. They look pretty awesome. We're doing something weird at the moment. So we're opening the gallery soon next month in LA. Digital art, music. We're producing films and doing all sorts of weird and wonderful stuff. I hate that shit. That was just, I don't know why I brought that up. But we've always been at the forefront of doing unusual things, and I'm afraid we are playing with meme coins, but for a good reason. So one of our artists, NFN Kalyan, I've worked with him for 12 years. He paints paintings that are 27 feet long, that paints like Raphael, and is a conceptual guy, and he's just an amazing artist. We've played with concepts in the digital space in NFTs in the early days. I mean, on Nifty Gateway, I tried to bring on a bit of diversity. We brought on the first LGBT artist, the first artist of color, the first everything to make it a bit interesting, and no one would want it because it was all just geeky white kids that wanted to flip NFTs. But anyway, but then we also played with something conceptual with Kalyan, with a picture of his father, which is going to sound really macabre now. He died. And he used a picture of his father as an idea to collect a moment from his life. It disappeared from everywhere else, and it only existed as something on chain. And when we put it out there just to kind of push the narrative of concepts and what could be art in this space, and everyone just thought it was some sort of fundraiser and didn't get it. So we have brought it back in an unusual formula in a meme coin, and the reason, the big picture, is to try and build kind of an economy around an artist in a different way. So that the tokens are used for paintings, they're used for NFTs, they're used to build community that the artist then engages in with the artist. The audience engages with the artist in other ways. So that's the bigger picture. If I can make it work, I'm going to plug other artists into it. For me, it's just like experiment with NFTs in 2020, and it sounds weird, but it's called Dead Dad Coin, deaddadcoin.com. Because we've got to appeal to a bit of the DGen crowd as well. But
it appeals to the DGen crowd. I was on regular DGen space. They were talking about it, and they didn't know it was art.
But it's to get in there. But really, it's to push. It's a different narrative. For me, memes are art. It's no different to pop art in the 80s, and it's for me. I think it's interesting to see where it will go, especially if artists who have been traditional artists for years and explored digital and explored every medium that there is also want to play with this. And none of us are making any money in it. It's not like NFTs, but there you go.
Beautiful. Thank you. With that, that's our show. We'll see you next week. We're still right here. We're going to hang out here for, I don't know, another hour, and then we got an after party. Vibes Co. over on Abercrombie. It's a short walk. I don't even know. It's like a 10-minute walk here, but that's it. Jerry, put on some music. The lights are allowed to be off.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you dead? Pleasure chatting with you.
No, it's good to
Can I be on the next one?
It's always a little bit much the first time they'll start yelling at each other.
That was actually really good. No, that was actually really good. I love fighting with you.
Yeah, definitely.
And then everyone's like, yeah.
Always good to hear your perspective.
That's what I was enjoying.
I did want to say that the gallery thing, you make a good point, but there are bad galleries, and there are good galleries.
Of course, but like there's also bad actors in this space.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, mostly.
I just think that like
fucking mic test. Can you hear me? Sounds good. That sounds good. Bait. Yo, Fate. Bait. Damn. All right. Let me go get Michael Lyons to do camera real quick. Got you. How'd you guys like the show?
Look at you without the glasses.
Right? Who am I, bro? I got some eyeballs. I gotta find a cameraman, but I'll be right back. Listen.
This mic's live.
Mics are hot. Mics are hot. You can hear me on this one? Alrighty. I got Michael downstairs. I'm ready to go. Thank you. There we go.
No, I tell you, that's you.
Ready, Michael? Jerry, let me know when you're live. Welcome to the IRL Alpha Post Show, where we just talked to all these DJs that came here to Venice, California, about what transpired on that stage right here. My first victim is walking up right now. Look how the serendipitous nature of the universe works. What is up, Adventuring?
What's up?
How you doing, man? Like, you've been like killing it with like, I always have a hard time saying it. 9DCC.
DCC.
The first four letters of the Ethereum wallet.
Yes, that's it.
So how's it going with them, man? Like, what are you guys coming up in the pipeline?
It's all good. We have an item for summer coming out next month in July. We got our 90cc bucket hats that are currently up for pre-order. Then in September, we got our fall line dropping, the jackets, the pants, everything else for that fall winter collection. We're working on some like website upgrades, some profile upgrades, some upgrades to our network point system. We're sort of gearing up for the back half of the year to probably do a couple of more pop-ups and stuff like that. So yeah, it's going good.
I've noticed like you guys were working a program where like you onboard other like designers to like join like the brand.
Yeah. That's kind of going on strong right now. It's called Powered by 90cc. It's really sort of a brand expansion, more of a wholesale model where we're working with brands, protocols, artists, anybody that wants to co-create with us. They can get with our creative director who works with G on the mainline collections. They can create their own designs on shirts, hoodies, hats, and get that pushed out, and we'll help with everything, with the production, with the packaging, with the shipping, with the distribution, with the customer service, everything white glove. So we did a couple of drops. We've done stuff with Glitch Gallery recently. We've done stuff with OpenSea recently. Working on a couple other big ones as well. So
How can people get in touch with that if they want to work with you?
they can DM me. They can go to poweredby.90cc.xyz. They can fill out a form. They can DM G Money. They can DM anybody from the team. We'll help them out.
Dude, hell yeah, man. Tap in when we're eventually. Where can we find you next? 90cc.
We got Aventurine_ETH. That's my Twitter handle.
Dude, appreciate you, man.
Hit me
Thank
up.
you. Oh, look. They just keep coming. It's like our next victim right here. Margaret Murphy. How you doing, Margaret?
How are you? How are
Take
you?
the mic.
I'm taking it. I always take the mic.
You're with like art is dumb. Why is art dumb?
Art's not dumb. People are dumb about art. Yeah.
It's the people's fault, not the art's fault.
Yeah, I mean, like, people are dumb. And sometimes they make dumb art, or they are dumb in the sense that they don't take the time to understand art. But art in itself is not dumb. But it's funny to say that art is dumb.
Now you got like a sick AI photography drop, like on
Expanded art.
Expanded.
Yes, it's still minting. Plot twist.
Yeah, there we go.
We've extended it. Yep. It's 150 AI generated works that are inspired by the genre of road trip photography that kind of cemented itself in the canon mid 20th century. So a lot of like Americana and the experience of the road trip being an opportunity for personal and creative freedom for these photographers. And I see that as like a parallel between AI doing the same for me in terms of like new opportunities to create and like new workflows and just playing around with new experiences and really evolving for a lot of artists like myself.
And where can we tap in with you if we want to find more of Margaret Murphy?
Tap in on Twitter, baby, at Margaret Online.
There we go.
Thanks,
Go check
Liz.
out amazing artists in the space. Thank you so much.
You're the best.
You're the best. Let's see, who will we go to next? Oh. Let us go to one of the artists on the panel. Just had a drop on bass. I'm gonna pull him aside. Sir, may I bring you into the light to talk about your amazing art?
Okay, I'll
Let's go to the light, Michael.
I want to say no.
Oh no, we stay right here, Ed. And then Michael, if you stand right there, we got some good light. So Ed Balloon, regular on the IRL Alpha show, on the panel tonight. Bro, you got a drop on bass, man. Tell us a little bit about your drop.
It's the narrator. It is about guidance, direction, wholeness, and not moving out of a place of lack, and knowing that you can't look at the external to fill yourself. You have to make sure that you're already full, so the external can only just, be an add-on. I think a lot of times we go, outside for things to feed us when they don't actually feed us. We have to find ways to feed ourselves. We need to be our friends first before we can go out and try to befriend the world. So that is what the narrator is about. I don't have the art with me right now, but.
Dude, I love that. Where can we see some of this like sick art?
So it's on Highlight, the platform, and yeah, it's on base on chain, off chain, which is the summer off chain, base off chain. But yeah, it's on.
I love you, Ed.
Oh, he's not escaping. He poked in.
I just want to be on record. I bought Ed's piece and Postwick's piece yesterday. I fucking love Ed. If you don't support Ed, I don't even know what to tell you. You're not gonna fucking make it.
That's true.
I love you.
I know. I feel
You're multi-hyphenate, and I'm not joking. I love you. I'll see you outside.
Those are the IRL. Wait. No. He's gone. One of the head creators of Forgotten Runes. Check out Forgotten Runes. They make this show possible. And let's go back to your art.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. So it's on Highlight on the platform. It's 0.06 on base. And yeah, so far we are more than 50% sold. And yeah, we're trying to get to 250. If we get to 250, I drop a song called I Need Friends, which I did in 2016. So it's just to commemorate. I know a lot of the holders of V-Friends wanted the song. And so if we get to that, we will get the whole song out. And then I can make a special announcement with that.
Love to hear it, man. Where can we tap in with you if we want to find more of Ed Balloon?
I guess my Twitter, @balloon.eth. I think that's what it still is. I'm just on it, I barely know my name. But I'm always, I think I'm always like floating around on Twitter. So yeah, you know, whether I'm in Twitter Spaces or on a timeline, I'm pretty active. And Farcaster too. I'm more Farcaster as well.
Dude, check out Ed Balloon, sick artist in the space. Been here a minute, OG. Ed Balloon, thank you so much, bro.
Thank you.
Let's see, who will we go with next? Oh. Let's go this way, Michael. Sorry to interrupt, man. I pull you for a second, Patrick. Thank you so much, bro. What's up, Patrick? Here with Patrick Amadon. If you don't know, legend in the space, amazing artist, always support other artists. You had Dissidents, like you minted on some like Silk Road sats.
Yeah.
Tell us about like your journey into like Bitcoin and dropping an omni-chain project with Disobedience.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, I know like Bitcoin. Bitcoin's like the original chain. It's the most censorship-resistant chain, and I think that the chain's like an interesting part of the medium that makes up art. So I feel like for something like that, that mattered for this project. So, and Silk Road Sats too. Like I feel
That's
like
so sick, dude.
I mean,
you
it's
worked with
such-
On-Chain Monkey. You worked with like
yeah,
Terry over there. They got you the
yeah,
pick.
Danny Demand over there. Like they're great. I don't know. I think it's just like about executing in an interesting way, and I think the Silk Road stats tell an interesting story. I think that, like free Ross, right? I mean, like I feel like there's a lot of people that are pushing the space forward that got punished because what they built just got used for something else, And I feel like I don't know. I think just like call attention to that. Like I hope we see a lot of stuff open up with crypto, a lot of stuff open up with art, and I think we'll see a much better situation for artists if we kind of get past this regulatory fuckery that we're kind of all dealing with right now.
Now, what do you think is like the hurdle right now, like in Web3 for? Oh, I got a mic right here. Okay, you can interview me. So, what do you think the hurdle is for like artists getting in right now? Do you think there's like a learning curve for like new collectors? Do you feel like artists like maybe not have a market with like all the attention being drawn to meme coins? Like, what do you feel is like missing in that art space right now?
No, I think it's great right now. Now is like the best time to get in because you need to do 3, 4, 5, 6 months of networking, meeting artists, meeting collectors. Like there's so much grunt work you have to do, so many hours you have to put in to build up a network that can support you as an artist. It doesn't matter what the quality of your work is if like you don't have an audience to share it with. And I don't know, I would much rather like do that work now while there's fewer people here so it's easier to like build that network than like coming in when the market's hot and everyone's not paying attention to you. So, like, no better time than right now. I'll probably have to tweet that later.
Yeah, and where can we tap in with you, man, so we can find more of you? In case people don't know, like, if
yeah.
you don't know who this guy is, I don't know what you're doing in this space.
Yeah, only Twitter because IG fucks artists.
Patrick, man, pleasure, dude. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Let's do it. And then let's see, who else will we go to, Michael? Let's go around this way. Who do we have in the crowd? Can we go outside? May I have your presence, Postbook? Postbook is busy. Let's see, who do we have? Oh, maybe we could talk to Rudy really quick. Rudy, how's it going?
It's going well, fellas. How are you guys doing?
How you doing, man? How'd you enjoy the show tonight?
It was good. We had Patrick, Wook, and yeah, I mean, it's all good. I honestly was outside a lot of the time. I mean, I will say that. I was out talking to Dave from Dave Kibo from Ordinauts and Chris D. Flyride. So we were talking about some other things we'd like to kind of play around with. But I'm glad to be here. Hoping to hang out with Patrick later on and every beautiful being here.
Now, you're deep into the on-chain monkey ecosystem, man.
Yes.
Like, why are you so bullish on on-chain monkeys?
Why am I bullish on on-chain monkeys? Because I like to be around experienced people. This ecosystem, whether it's crypto, Bitcoin, ordinals, there's a lot to learn always. It's a fast-moving pace. Blockchain technology, things are moving fast. So I like to be around people that have experience, and even more than that, that have integrity. Integrity is a huge thing for me. It's not just about making money. It's about being around like-minded, strong integrity people that, aren't just worried about filling their pockets. They're people that believe in technology and innovation. They believe in what blockchain can do. They believe that technology and innovation can improve, the human experience. And so that interests me. I'm bullish on that. And so by being around, in a curated, kind of fostered community led by Danny Yang with all his experience, and founders like Bill Tai, with his lengthy investment experience and the time he spent in the tech industry, you honestly, like, where else but in Web3 is someone with zero experience have the opportunity to, hear them speak, gain from their wisdom and their experience, and, if they want to, apply that knowledge, apply that experience, and learn more and have fun and do it safely. That's why I'm bullish. The space is full of, we've got a lot of interesting things that take place sometimes. And I would rather be in an environment where people kind of have some stronger principles. I'd like to learn together and respectful. And that for me, I'm a little older. I'm not trying to party all night. I'm here to learn and grow with other like-minded people. And that for me is why I'm bullish on On-Chain Monkey. They make excellent, whatever they make, whether, whatever collection, wherever that goes, honestly. Like if it's, they have MetaGood, right? They have a parent company that is a for-profit company. So whatever, they work on, I know that, they're doxed, they have a ton of experience. It's going to be serious. For me, it's like, that's a no-brainer. Align yourself, try to rub elbows, try to, listen and soak up all you can. We're here. We love the space. They love the space. They, I think they, have far bigger goals. I'm here for the ride, and I'm going to learn whatever I can and have a great time doing it for as long as I can.
Dude, appreciate you, Rudy, man. Amazing. Dude, where can we tap in with you if we want to find more of you?
If you wanted to, spirit_0_24/7.
Appreciate you, Rudy. Thank you, dude. For sure. Now we got Wook. How you doing, Wook? On the panel tonight.
Hey, I'm good. I got Shaba.
The queen of IRL.
She's got hotter takes than me.
What's your hot take tonight, Shaba? You can't say that. Exactly.
Baby girl.
Now, Posto, you have like an amazing drop coming up, The Astronomer's Daughter. Can you talk a little bit about that?
It's live. The mint is live. So my whole thing with it is that I really want it to get into the hands of the people who want it. So if you are interested in the art, you are allowed to eventually sell it. I'm not saying like it's a soul-bound token or anything, but like I am looking for people who are genuinely interested in it. It's a super cool project that I use satellite data and 100 rare sats to create art using recursion and endpoints, and it's, I don't know, it just took me a really long time to do, and I'm really grateful that it's finally out. The reception's been awesome, so I'm really grateful and happy for it.
Now, where can we find this art if we wanted?
TheAstronomersDaughter.io. You can also go to all my socials, and it's there. And the art reveals tomorrow, which is really exciting.
Tap into Postbook. Get The Astronomer's Daughter. Don't listen to Shaba's hot takes. Thank you so much, Postbook. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Michael, let's go this way. I think that is all the time we have for the IRL Alpha Post Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been your host, Lo Swayze. Thank you, chat. Thank you, everyone that's come out. We couldn't do the show without you. Till next time, peace.
The background looks so fucking cool.
I love it.
Wow.
I fucking love it. Thank you, Michael.